Coming up on News 2, a BOC officer is in satisfactory condition, however, on leave, seeking further medical attention after officials say he was assaulted by detainees at Golden Grove. That disturbance also led to open cell doors, riot, mattresses lit on fire, and eventually a lockdown at the prison. We'll have the latest. Plus, the St. Thomas St. John Board of Elections held a press conference. What was discussed? Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gamansing. Topping our newscast, one officer and several Golden Grove detainees are recovering after a riot broke out on Monday. Corrections officials are clearing up the details after a news report by the VI source from a witness that alleged prisoners were placed in a holding cell and beaten. News 2's Erica Parsons has the story.
The story and pictures released on the VI Source's website Tuesday are troubling. They show cuts, bruising, and swelling on 3 detainees. But prison officials say some of those prisoners attacked a guard and started a riot.
This was an 18-year veteran officer.
Bureau of Corrections officials haven't released the name of the guard who was attacked by at least 2 prisoners Monday morning.
We received a call while on our way to work that approximately 8:45 there was an incident in 9 Alpha. 9 Alpha is a unit that's locked down for detainees. And what we were told is that the officer down and we need help.
That unnamed officer was supervising the lockdown unit when he was told by one detainee that another prisoner needed help.
The one officer was working there, which is protocol. It was on a 12 to 8 shift. Apparently a detainee slapped him and he lost his balance and his keys fell down.
The guard was then struck with a broomstick over the right temple. With access to the keys, one detainee opened all the cell doors. A BOC statement says the prisoners lit mattresses on fire, which filled the unit with smoke. An officer from an adjacent unit was able to pull the downed officer to safety. A tactical team of about 15 officers brought the situation under control.
Whenever you have a situation where an officer is hurt, your automatically level of security has heightened. Therefore, you have to use the force necessary to gain control. Because we're talking about taking the keys. Detainees could have gone into public. You know, we have to make sure the safety of the officers, offenders, and the public is not jeopardized.
Please bear in mind that this particular unit houses our most violent detainees and is our most challenging unit in the jail.
The 6 prisoners were assessed and 3 sent to the hospital. In addition to the officer who was jumped, there were 16 on that unit, the oldest of whom was 22. Erica Parsons, News 2.
Corrections officials say the officer is on leave to seek additional medical attention. They also transferred 2 of the riot's ringleaders to St. Thomas prison facility. In other crime news, on November 10th, police on St. Thomas were advised that there was an armed robbery at the Cocopelli Cafe located in Market Square East about 7:15 a.m. One victim said just after she opened and went inside, a male wearing a beige knit hat covering his face approached her and threatened her with a silver handgun. A second employee was forced by the suspect to open the safe, and 3 bank bags were taken. Both were restrained, one with duct tape and one with electrical wire. Police are also investigating an armed robbery at the Supermax convenience store the same day around 5 p.m. Here's more.
Owners told police that 2 males, one with a handgun, came into the store, took cash from the register and a gold chain valued at more than $1,000 from a store employee. Both suspects walked out of the store and went east. And an adult female on St. John told police that she was sleeping in her home in Calabash Boom when she heard a noise. And when she came out of her bedroom, she saw a man fleeing through the eastern porch door. Officers came to the residence and found a small flip knife on a bed in another unoccupied bedroom in the home.
Now, police are also investigating 2 robberies on St. John. They say on November 11th, a man reported that he was robbed about 2:15 p.m. as he was walking on 5th Street. He said he was approached by 2 males and one was armed with a handgun who robbed him of $20. Officers are also investigating an armed robbery that occurred at the Love City Mini Mart just after 10:30 p.m. The store manager and an employee were closing the business when they say a suspect dressed in a black hoodie, black ski mask, black shirt, pants and shoes entered carrying a handgun and demanded money. The suspect grabbed an envelope containing approximately $200 and several phone cards before fleeing. Well, the St. Thomas St. John Board of Elections held a press conference on Wednesday. 3 board members laid out what would happen in the event of a runoff and also addressed prevailing concerns about the general election. News 2's April Knight has that story.
Ballots are still being counted on both districts, but the election system is already preparing for a runoff. In a press conference held Wednesday, St. Thomas St. John board members addressed several concerns, including why the count is taking so long. Board Chairman Arturo Watlington said not letting voters scan their own ballots did make the process lengthier, but he stressed that the DS-200s operated contrary to VI law.
Totally against Virgin Islands law. Totally against the policy that the boards have set up for this year for the conduct of business, and inconsistent with any type of logic that we were aware of.
According to the board, voters will be able to scan their own ballots in the event of a runoff. Absentee ballots will be processed via email, but the voter has to waive his right to privacy. Some voters are okay with that idea as long as they get to vote.
I understand. I understand.
You're voting without me.
The board also addressed the complaint filed by a representative of the Matt Potter campaign, who said the board was dealing with ballots last week Thursday after declaring that they were finished and most of the poll watchers have left the building.
What is written on paper is hogwash. 89 votes that were hand counted. The technician informed us that it had to be sorted. I stepped out of the room. I summoned those people we had already said that we were going to be finished tonight to come back into the room so that we can input that information.
Chairman Washington is clearly mistaken. One of my guys who was still up there hanging around in the lobby, when he stuck his head in there and saw what was going on, he went out and he contacted us from the lobby.
According to Watlington, they cannot definitively confirm that there will be a runoff based on the number of ballots counted versus the number of votes cast. The board is confident they'll make certification deadline on Friday. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Meanwhile, the election system is working on the latest unofficial results, but according to one of their staff, they are double-checking the numbers and would likely release the update on Thursday. But for now, there are no updates on the numbers. The latest results from 7:44 Monday night are as follows. For Governor, Kenneth Mapp continues to lead with 47.89%, while Donna Christensen has 37.74%. Kenneth Mapp would need a solid 50% plus 1 to avoid a runoff next week. On St. Thomas's senatorial race, Marvin Blyden retains the top spot, followed by Myron Jackson, Clifford Graham, Tregenza Roach, Jean Ford, and Jeanette Millen Young. Donald Cole is still at 8th place since Justin Harrigan Sr. overtook him on Wednesday. On St. Croix, there were some changes in numbers, but the order is the same. From the top, it's Kurt Ville, Novell Francis, Samuel Sanas, Kenneth Gittens, Neville James, Terrence Nelson, and Narita O'Reilly. Rocky Liebert has a solid spot with a 60.07% of the votes for the senator-at-large race. Again, we'll have the latest for you as soon as the results are updated. The general election has to be certified by November 15th. News 2 will keep you updated. As President Obama wraps up a 3-day trip to Beijing, the U.S. and China announced a milestone deal on climate change. The U.S. and China announced today a landmark agreement to work together to cut carbon and greenhouse gas emissions. The U.S. agreed to move much faster in cutting emissions of heat-trapping gases by as much as 28% below 2005 levels by the year 2025. China, which is busy building new coal plants, didn't commit to specific numbers, but promises its emissions will stop growing by 2030 at the latest. The deal has been in the works for 9 months, a first for China. In keeping our eye on the economy, Macy's says its sales fell in the past few months, which makes the upcoming holiday shopping season even more important. Macy's recently announced it will open its doors at 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving. In other news, more Americans are eating meals at home instead of heading to restaurants, but they're not necessarily cooking. A new study from the research firm NPD Group found that Americans are making meals out of ready-to-eat snacks. The most popular include yogurt, cereal bars, and fruit. Here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our Stock Market Watch. The Dow down 2, NASDAQ up 14, S&P also down at 1. Coming up on News 2, a brand new cruise ship made its maiden call to the Virgin Islands at the Waco dock on St. Thomas. The launch of this new ship, Princess Cruises, Regal Princess, and the call are in conjunction with Princess Cruises' 50th anniversary. We went on board for a welcoming plaque ceremony. The Senate Committee of the Whole met Wednesday in a special session called by Governor John DeYoung to discuss the agreement between the government and Atlantic Basin Refining. That's the company that's set to take over the St. Croix refinery. The Senate sent the matter over to the Finance Committee for further review, but senators did express concern that the government was not given a copy of the actual agreement to be scrutinized by legislators.
There is an agreement that we haven't seen. An agreement that the Attorney General continued to speak about between the proposed buyer and the seller, and you're looking at it and we can't see it. How is it that we can't have some form of in-camera inspection of this document?
In health news, there are a lot more people going to the emergency room these days with the start of the flu season. Wallaby Hospital officials confirmed Sunday that they have seen an increase in ER visits. One of Flu's CEO, Dr. Kendall Griffith, said it's because of the flu season and the recent spike in viral illnesses locally. He said in addition to the critical and emergent care cases, the ER has been serving people with symptoms of flu, dengue, fever, chikungunya, and other viral illnesses. Hospitals across the nation are also experiencing a spike in ER visits because of the flu season. And speaking of viral illnesses, the number of chikungunya cases in the territory continue to rise. Although they have leveled off somewhat in St. Thomas, the latest numbers show 83 confirmed cases in St. Thomas and more than 800 suspected cases. In St. Croix, there are 5 confirmed cases and more than 160 suspected cases. St. John has 4 confirmed cases and more than 40 suspected. A life-size periodic table of the elements was produced by Antilles Middle and Upper School students. Science teacher Crystal Buckley and STEM students learned all about them. Each student was assigned to construct 2 element boxes, which show on different sides the origin of the element along with some fun facts, properties, and other information. The life-sized table is currently on display in Buckley's science classroom. Also, Antilles School's AP Physics students got a chance Tuesday to talk over what they've learned this year with renowned astrophysicist George B. Field. Field led an instrumental National Academy of Science study in the early 1980s that pinpointed priorities for national astronomical research, including the Hubble Space Telescope. A brand new cruise ship made its maiden call to the Virgin Islands on Sunday at the Waco dock on Wednesday. The launch of this new ship, Princess Cruises' Regal Princess, and that call are all in conjunction with Princess Cruises' 50th anniversary. The new Regal Princess, which is sister ship to Royal Princess, is 1,083 feet long, 217 feet high, and has 19 decks. The guest capacity is 3,560. The inaugural cruise was in May of 2014. Well, a VI delegation went on board to personally welcome the captain.
It's great to be here. Our ship's company are very excited to be on your island. I think it's probably the favourite port of call. There's lots of dollars in their pockets ready to go and spend ashore.
We'd like to present you with this plaque and welcome you and your guests and your staff to our beautiful island. So on behalf of the Department of Tourism, we would like to present you with this plaque that says St. Thomas welcomes the Regal Princess to the Port of St. Thomas on November 12, 2014.
That's very beautiful. Thank you very much.
Meanwhile, please mark this on your calendar. On Tuesday, November 18th, the Disney Fantasy will be in port, along with Celebrity Cruises, Reflection, and the Carnival Sunshine. Now, some of the passengers will be here in time for the community concert series, Pan Jazz Jamboree. That's from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. on the Waiko Dock Gazebo area. The University of the Virgin Islands Jazz Band, under the direction of Mr. Joe Francis, will open the concert, followed by Victor Provost's Quartet. Leroy Simmons and the VI Superior Court Rising Stars Steel Orchestra will make a special guest appearance. The Waiko community concerts are free and open to the public. Well, be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.